Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest in fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. Welcome back from the long weekend. Hopefully you had time to spend with your family. Hope you had time to reflect on the meaning of Memorial Day and attend any particular services that are out there as well. For today, what we're going to talk about to get the short week kicked off right, there is a Secure 2.0 Act that's out there that I want to talk about a little bit because it will have, I think it'll pass. I think it'll go through with very little hesitation and become law sometime during this year. There's a lot of things you should know that are in there, just so you're aware of it. So if you hear a news story, you can kind of break it down a little bit. So that's what we're going to talk about is Secure Act 2.0. A lot of it affects your 401ks as well as your 403bs, 457, TSP, all of that sort of thing if you're involved in those as well. And if you're in the retirement phase, it's going to kick out the RMD, required minimum distribution, even further. So that's what we're going to talk about for that. As far as news cycle for the weekend in the room, I just republished the longs and the shorts. Overall, it's pretty boring news cycle weekend, to be honest. Not a lot moving the market, and when the market doesn't have a lot of news, it just creeps higher, right? So other than some major names out there, AMC up 17%, it's still in play due to the Reddit folks. Cloudera up 27% on a merger. Orbital Energy up 45% on a merger. Vertex Energy, same sort of thing. Other than that, we only have a few names to get. Those are too far gone. As far as the longs out there, I do like BlackBerry. BB, which will pull that chart. It's probably number one long. CTIC and PRTK are both FDA. Or they're biotech firms with positive FDA approvals, if you will, over the weekend. And then the only short I have for you is Abbott Labs, and I don't like that very much short, but if you absolutely have to have a short, then ABT is your thing. All right, if you're catching this on replay, make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell. If you want to join us in the room, it's $25 a month to be able to ask me questions. What you don't see is a chat window and a Q&A window to be able to ask me questions. I'll answer those real time. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everyone. There's our lineup card for today, June 1st, 2021. 5 months in already. This year's moving along pretty quick. Generally, June's kind of a do nothing in the market kind of month. You know, there's the sell in May and go away, and that continues through the summer doldrums. There's too much going on in the economy reopening for the market to stand still, I think, right now. So I think you're going to see another big move up in the market in June, probably July, really until taxes and inflation become the mainstream talk. I think you're going to see the market just screaming higher from once you see the, airlines, cruise liners, casinos, movie theaters, all restaurants, all of the earnings that they're going to have again going into the third quarter. I think it's safe to say the market's going to continue higher. Now the tax stuff that's coming out of it, you're right, that could put a hurt on things, but a lot of that's priced in already. All right, standard disclaimer, make sure you have your call sign in there and open your chat and Q&A windows set up appropriately. Standard disclaimer applies. Make sure you do your own due diligence before acting upon anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, today we're talking about growing our money, protecting our money, and living off our money. Specifically with the Secure Act 2.0 is we're talking about growing our money or living off our money, to be honest. So I'm going to walk you through, there's 10 things that we're going to talk to right now, and then we'll come back to this screen of the Secure Act 2.0. So when you think of, as I get the right screen here, when you refresh your memory, there was a Secure Act 1.0 that did a couple things for us. So the Secure Act 1.0, which was again, I think 18 months or 2 years ago now, started us off with, it took the required minimum distribution from 70 and a half and kicked it out to the age 72. First of all, they're killing everybody with that half year, right? Because that makes you do math. Nobody wants to do math, make it nice and easy. So kicking it out to age 72. And the other thing is, if you had a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA, you now have, well, even with the Roth, you have 10 years if you inherit an IRA to be able to take that thing to zero instead of taking it over your own life expectancy. Again, one of the best parts about the Roth used to be, if you could inherit it, you could bequeath it to a teenager and have it grow for another 70 years over their life expectancy. You can't do that right now. You have to draw them down to zero over that 10 years, and that causes tax problems in the case of the traditional for the beneficiary. So those are the two big things that came out of Secure Act 1.0. The big thing that's coming out of Secure Act 2.0 is it continues your required minimum distribution age and kicking it to the right. Over the next 10 years, it's going to move out to age 75, which is what you'll see on this first slide here. So when you take a look at this, Secure 1 moved from 70.5 to 72. Now it's going to go out to 75. And again, I'm sure this will get passed, to be honest. What that allows the government to do is allows you to make more money before you have to take it out. And for the folks that I manage, there are not a lot of people that are actually withdrawing from their retirement accounts. They have plenty of money outside of that, so they're only withdrawing when they have to, which is, from the government, from the individual perspective, that lets your accounts grow even more before you have to take it out of the tax protected status. From a government perspective, that allows you to grow your nest egg that much bigger and then turn around and they get to tax a bigger chunk of it. So it's kind of more of a win for the government than it is individuals, but it'll seem like a win for individuals who are trying to avoid being taxed. And again, when you take your required minimum distribution, you are getting taxed on it. So that's the big one out there. The second one is to auto enroll. So you should like this as a society, if you will. It allows employers, or it forces employers to auto enroll their employees up to 3% when you start working at a place. So no longer do you have to go sign up for the 401k. It's going to happen automatically for you. So that's the next step. There can be incentives. Right now, the only incentive that's out there that's legal is an employer match. And not all employers can afford to match what everybody contributes to their 401ks, right? Because it's thousands of dollars a year. But they're allowed to now give you things like gift cards or further incentivize you participating. So that's the next step. The catch-up contributions. So once you turn 50, again, you have top-off contributions in both individual retirement accounts as well as 401ks. Well, in the 401k world, you used to be able to contribute an extra $6,500 a year once you get beyond 50. Now it's going to go, if this is passed, up to $10,000 a year. So again, increasing that contribution, allowing folks that are not necessarily where they want to be financially, or they're trying to surge into squirreling away the biggest amount of money they can going into the retirement phase, it allows them the opportunity to do so. Again, I think that is a no-brainer. Okay. Employers can match funds already to whatever you contribute, but there's also, I don't know if this will pass or not, or if it'll get stricken, but I think this is the most controversial part of it, is it allows employers to match whatever you pay off of your student loans. So if you make a $300 monthly student loan payment, they would be able to match that into your retirement. So kind of an incentive, kind of not related. You're talking apples and oranges with student loans and retirement savings, but it's an incentive out there. I don't know if that one's going to stay. Old 401ks. So this is a thing, and I get that. Not everybody lives and breathes finance stuff like I do, but some folks out there, especially that have bounced around jobs, have what's called these old 401ks that are out there that they don't know where they are. This would create a registry of 401ks that have sat dormant for over a year, that now, if you search for your social or whatever identifier is out there, you'll be able to find it. Some like if you've seen the lost dividends thing, I found some stuff from my wife had back in the day. She had some dividends that paid into an account. That already kind of exists for brokerage accounts. So why doesn't it exist for 401ks? So it's pretty interesting. If you go to your home state, there's a directory. I think it's lost items or lost something that you can check this out. You may find something. We did, and I certainly didn't expect that I was going to find anything at all. Okay. So right now, also, they wanted to increase the ability to go into a Roth. Like for me, I have a SEP IRA. It's a self-employed pension plan, and it's only traditional. This law, so I get the tax benefits, whether I want it or not. And you know me, if you worked with me at all, I'd rather pay taxes now. So it's tax-free for the rest of my life. So it can grow without ever me having to cut Uncle Sam back into the deal again, right? And I think taxes are just going to go up, up, and up over my lifetime. So I'd rather pay now. Currently, I don't have that option. This would create that option for folks like myself that have both, that have SEP IRA like me or simple IRAs out there. Okay, right now 401ks are only for full-time employees. This would allow a path for part-time employees to be able to participate. So that'd be pretty cool. And then for the last one, the 403b isn't one you see a whole lot, but investment options for a 403b generally, which is a nonprofit type retirement account, have only been like mutual funds and annuities. So kind of the most expensive stuff out there. This is going to allow basically those custodial accounts to mirror a 401k, which in a lot of 401ks now you can actually get in there and buy individual stocks. It's up to the company if they have that relationship, but certainly there's some airlines out there and some other, I know at least one person in the room that is, yeah, they can do it with their retirement account. So it's pretty cool. All right, that's the Secure Act 2.0. There's going to be more on that, but I do think it flies through and gets passed in fairly short order. All right, let's go back to our lineup card real quick and talk about the rest of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. What is a 401k, 403b? We kind of talked about that. Long-term investing, we'll take a look at the SPY and the Q, so the S&P 500 as well as the NASDAQ. We'll get into the short-term execution of the market open. Again, things are trending higher, so I'm more inclined to take the longs this morning. And contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, going over to TD Ameritrade, Think Pipes platforming in 5 minutes to the open here. 4 screens in front of you. I have BB long, that's BlackBerry. You can see it's gapping up there significantly. PRTK long, also have CTIC long that I may switch between the two. And then Abbott Labs ABT is the short of the day. So that's how I have it set up. All right, as far as this screen is your 1 year look at the S&P 500. So obviously we've been in some congestion here, kind of some double bottoms or just north of 400 there. And since then, it's just been kind of creeping higher. So if there's not any major news out there, it's just going to creep higher this week until something else to freak out about comes along and spooks the market. What could that be? The Fed, remember the Fed's getting more and more vocal. They're getting more pressure on them to raise rates to combat inflation. That's probably the most likely. I don't see a crazy tax headline coming out of nowhere. So I think it'll be mostly inflation talk. And then of course, as soon as the Fed says we are talking about it, raising interest rates, that will spook the markets a little bit. So that could happen at any time. When you look at the 5-day though, basically the SPY is just creeping straight up there. So nothing really to talk about there. All right, let's look at CNBC.com for the headlines. You will notice a little difference today that I am now a subscriber. I'm no longer a cheapskate of the CNBC Pro, which is what you see up here at the green. Now, I can't show that on air. I mean, I could, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because I subscribe for it, right? So that would not be right to show. So I'm only going to show you free stuff, but that means I have read the articles behind that and can talk to them as well. So going around the world there, futures are up nice, over 0.5%. That's cool. Asia, mixed. Over in Europe, up big from strong economic data that was coming out. 10-year at 1.6, so not much going on there. Oil's up pretty big, almost 70 a barrel. I know you're feeling that at the pump. I hear you. Gold and silver, I put that into some portfolios last week. I will continue to put that into portfolios this week to be able to hedge against some inflation there. And then crypto has been kind of a wild ride. We're not really talking about a lot much anymore. But again, Saturday, huge sell-off and then a big bounce back. All right. Let's look at the headlines here. New screen, a new headline set up. since it's live streaming there. All right, S&P will be near a record today. This biotech conference is what's leading a lot of these things to go higher. China does have a Robinhood version that's going to pump up the crypto market that just came out. You know about AMC, just continues to go up. They actually issued new shares today. And everything in your mind tells you this is a short, but when you have the hold on for dear life folks out there and they're targeting this, you can't get in on it. BB Long, that's one of the storylines out there, is BlackBerry is now considered one of these left for dead companies that we're just going to buy it and make it go to the moon, right? Here's your Cloudera getting bought by KKR and some others out there. All right, NIO and XPEV, again, those are Chinese automakers, the big EV players there in China. Those are up, not quite to our level of 5%, but they're up 4 and change this morning. So we can always toggle to those as the market opens here. All right, we got 1 minute to the open. Let's go ahead and switch over to TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes and get set up. Again, BlackBerry, PRTK. Let's look at NIO real quick. I love NIO. See how it's doing. It's at 40 from 38. So again, more along the lines of 4%. So set up for BlackBerry, PRTK, and then Abbott short. And I'll be right back with you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you on the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. On the far left, you have the S&P 500, which you can see is in the green, almost 0.7%, and trending higher into the open. We have 2 longs, BlackBerry and PRTK. Here's the opening bell. And then the far right is Abbott Labs short, they guided down significantly. I'm more inclined to look at the longs this morning. I like this BlackBerry because largely it's a meme stock. So what I mean by that is it's being manipulated by the Reddit crowd. So we'll probably take a 10 cent, maybe a 15 cent long here. And again, you think, okay, we're going to take it pretty quick. So this is good that it's selling off. You see up here that it, 8%, that's right in the heart of our investment zone. You have PRTK selling off a little bit here as well, nice in the zone. All right, so 1085 is the bottom here. So let's go 11. And again, this is long, there's 11. So we're into this trade now. This is very aggressive. We'll go 1084 here down at the bottom to give ourselves 1 penny on top of that low of the day. So it's a 16 cent stop, which is going to make the math fun for me. But you can hop in and take at any point in time here. And again, the theory is it's a meme stock and that it's going to get bought up. So 1116 is our first R. There, 1132 would be our second R, and then our exit point is 1148. Plenty of time to hop in on this trade if you want it. And again, it's aggressive. 1084 is the bottom there to protect us against the low of the day. Overall, the market's doing pretty well, so I do like that, and there's plenty of volume, millions of shares of volume. That tells you this thing's in play, probably on a Reddit screen somewhere. So we'll see. Just kind of let that go for a second, sitting there at about even right now. All right, PRTK. Not a lot of volume here, and it's selling off a little bit. Not really all that interested in it. Let's go CTIC, if you will. Again, this is another pharmaceutical name that just got FDA approval. Blah, blah, blah. It's not moving. Let's check out NIO. It's not CNIO, but actually NIO. Up 4%. That's moving up nicely. And again, this NIO was down in the low 30s, so I would love to see it climb back up to where it was. Thank you. I'll just point at it while it goes higher. I like that. All right, let's look at our short of the day. Abbott's down at that minus 5.5% range, so it is hanging in there. Just not quite enough to short this with the market continuing higher here. So, all right, I like the trade we're in. Let's take a look at some other names. Short ZIM it's not traded very much. Don't even know what they do. That was in here, minus 5%. So selling off, but not a good candidate for today. And let's look at XPEV. We've got NIO shooting higher. Generally, they travel together, so we'll see how close that is. Yeah, pretty close, right? So yeah, good looking gains there. I would not turn around and take these guys long. But I will tell you, the whole Chinese segment, I also saw K-Web. I know, laugh. K-Web's been left for dead, but K-Web bounced hard this weekend. Not hard enough for us to trade it. And then you know what I'm going to bring up. Starts with L, rhymes with KNCY. Is Luck and Coffee up 5%. So they're printing you some cash today. So what the bottom line there is that the China names are getting some love. So part of that's this the Chinese regulation storyline has kind of played out. I mean, you can only get beaten up so much. And then secondly, this trading, this Robinhood app that they have, what are the Gen Z millennials going to buy over there? They're going to log in and buy the names they know and they like. Those are hot button names like Neo, XPEV, Baba, I bet you is up probably 5% as well. Okay, 3.5%. Makes a liar out of me. Tencent Holdings, crowd favorite, up 4%. So a lot of the Chinese names are kind of coming back. So I like that. All right, our trade's sitting here about even. So if you don't like it and want to kill it because you've lost the faith, you can. I'm just going to let it sit. Again, 1084 is the bottom, and then 1148 is the higher end there. All right, let's zoom out and take a look at some longer term stuff while we're at it. There you can see AMC is up 15%, Neo, Luckin, K-Web, Nikola, don't talk about them much anymore. They've been kind of left for dead. Alibaba VIP Shop is another Chinese retailer name. Boeing up 2.8%. They got a strong upgrade today from somebody, I can't remember who, but a pretty strong showing there. So lots of names up over 1%. Let's look in the red and see what's down. Mind Medicine, oof. MNMD. Okay, well, it bounced last week. I pulled it, that's what I have in the chart here. The chart went down to $3. Look at this resistance at $3. So, I mean, that's one day, it's not days, but so that tells you there's a buyer at $3, right? Somebody has the big old ridiculous 10 million shares at $3 open order or limit order sitting there. So it hit it and it buys and sells up and hits it and hits it and hits it. So anyhow, that really put the floor in the market. So if you're thinking about asymmetric upside, which again, that's what I like. So the downside, if you were to buy Mind Medicine here at 317, you kind of have 17 cents to the downside. And if you were to think, and I'm talking long-term, not short-term trading, it's obviously not a trade based off of this. If anything, it'd be a short based off of the trend from today. But really from long-term, if you buy in here, it's probably going to get propped up by 3. You don't know. You can't guarantee that, but that's what the chart's telling you. And then, of course, you have a nice run higher if you want it. When you look at, I think this was a lot higher. Yeah, it was up here almost, touched $4. What is that? 9 days ago. So again, asymmetric upside and MNMD, highly speculative. And again, if you don't believe in microdosing and LSD, then don't invest in this, right? Because that's what they're doing. What was illegal in the 70s is now going to become legal. I don't know. We'll see. It's got some of my money. I think it's interesting. I don't know that I'm going to make any money, but I like the potential upside there. Okay, let's go back to the long side and back to our trade, see if it held. It's hanging on by a thread, so we'll leave that up on a side screen there. This Neo trade was nice. I bet you XPEV is the same way. Yep, both those are nicer, but we're in this one, so be happy with it. All right, the market is kind of selling off a little bit here, so and this is still holding. So again, not necessarily a bad sign. All right, coming back on video here, let's go over to CNBC and we'll close out for the day. Pops 300 points. Let's refresh that since that's still showing futures. So yeah, market's still up 0.5% across the board despite the selling we've had. All right, the last thing I'll leave you with is the 401k basics. Again, this is Investopedia. This is a workplace employer-sponsored retirement plan. I can now set these up for folks. So I have one business owner who set up a 401k for his employees through Schwab. It takes a lot of paperwork, but you can get them set up. So SEP IRA is kind of, if you're out there and you're doing a side hustle or your own gig, SEP IRA is kind of the number one to look at. But if you start taking on full-time employees and want to switch to a 401k, it can be done. The employer basically pays, it allows the employee to pay into it. So it allows that mechanism, unlike a SEP IRA, which is actually the employer paying the individual. So it allows the employee to pay into the 401k plan, and it also allows the employer to match funds going into that plan. There is a Roth version. So again, for most people, that's a right version. Sometimes if you're a high earner and you're about ready to retire, then maybe it's not right for you. But for the most part, it is the right thing. Again, 1,900 or 19,500 as far as your limits for this year, and again, a top off of 6,500. And if the Secure 2.0 passes, it'll go even higher from there. Generally, you have mutual funds and index funds. I do manage these for folks. Sometimes you'll have real estate and bond funds. Some of these have inflation protected funds, which is really a bond fund, but a specific type of it. So anyhow, if you want help with it, reach out. I can do that for you. Once you leave that employer, you can take those and now put it into your IRA. That kind of helps you keep track of things. So it's a 1-for-1 rollover, no cost. Those funds just simply go in your IRA and you are off to the races. Or you can take it and move it to your new employer. So if you were with A and now you're working for B, you can simply slide those funds over to employer B and continue to invest that money and keep it in a 401k plan. Okay, last year you could take loans out. If you took loans out, you have 3 years to repay. Don't forget that. And that can be a large amount of money to come up with. So don't wait till the very end, right? Because that's going to be tough to come up with that. All right, let's go back, check on our trade, and I'll close out for today. Trade's hanging right here in the red, but it's, Marky Mark hanging tough right here. I think that was Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch. Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure somebody will let me know if it wasn't. But it's hanging here just slightly in the red. I still like it for the day. So give it a chance. All right, with that, we'll see you guys back tomorrow. You have a good one. Bye.